Guys, PJ here. Today I'm working on a 2017 Suzuki Swift and I'll be showing you how to fit a dash cam into the car so that it goes on and off with the ignition. I'll also be showing you how to hide all the cabling out the way so it looks as factory fitted as possible. Before following this video guide, I just need to point out that I'm held no way liable or responsible for any injury to yourself or damage to your vehicle. So moving swiftly on with the guide, we're going to be mounting this particular camera up here near the headlining. Most of the cabling will be tucked up under the headlining. You can actually just put a little leverage tool there to pull that down. You're going to be needing access to your fuse box, which is down in this black crevice. I will get a torch and show you that in a second. You can also access it from up underneath the glove box, sort of up under here. To do this with the glove box, to drop it down, all you have to do is sort of basically when it's up, bend the edges in and wiggle it and it'll sort of come free and drop down. Gives you nice access to it. The actual item that we are fitting, there you go, Next Base dash cam fitting kit. There's the dash cam that's going in. This comes with these items. So we have a ferrite filter there to stop or help stop DAB interference on radios. Doesn't work perfectly, to be honest with you. On a lot of cars you will get DAB interference with a dash cam, but that really can't be avoided. We'll wrap that round the power cable shortly. Comes with two fuse spurs, mini blade fuse and normal blade. We won't be using this size. This is for older vehicles or commercial, some Mercedes, etc. We don't need that. We'll have a 2 or a 3 amp fuse in this. Now that's to run the camera. What a fuse spur is basically a doubling socket. So where we remove a fuse from the fuse box, this thing plugs in and doubles up the socket. So you'll have this fuse to run the camera, and then the fuse you pulled out of the fuse box goes next to it just there. So it's quite a handy thing, requires no soldering or anything like that, it's just plug and play. I'll show you how to test it for the correct fuse shortly. You get a replacement power cable. This one terminates in mini USB, and on the other end an earth and a power, and the power plugs into the fuse spur. The other end, the earth cable, we're going to find a chassis earth screw or bolt, something that screws to the chassis of the vehicle, and we're going to mount this behind it to provide a nice key earth location. First things first, we're going to unwrap this cable and prepare it for going above the windscreen. There's the ferrite filter fitted. Basically they're on a hinge with little clips, look. You pop them open, spread them, put the wire through it, wrap it around the back of it, and then back out and snap it shut. So it sits like so. Next up, we're going to pop a couple of cable ties round the cable, and the reason we're doing this is basically to beef the cable up, to make it a bit wider, because you don't want to hit a pothole and the cable drop down in front of you while you're driving along. So wrap some cable ties around, normally a couple, space them out, a bit of electrical tape over the top just to stop the sharp edges, because if you've ever used cable ties and snip them, they can be rather sharp. You don't want it rubbing on the inside of the headlining and making a mess. Cover them both in tape, and we're going to tuck this up above the headlining right now. When popping your cable up under the headlining, just take a bit of care. Do not go at it like a bull in a china shop. You know, it's only a fibre cardboard substance, so you just want to pop your fingers along the edge of it, just to ease it down gently, and tuck your cable all the way along the edge until you get to the corner here. Next up, grab the rubber seal, the door seal, pull it off. So hereby exposing the inside edge, and there's an airbag that runs along here. We're going to tuck the cable behind the airbag. You can put your fingers under the airbag, don't worry, you won't deploy it. Pop it behind the airbag and run all the way down the edge here. When you've ran your cable down to the footwell, so it's all nice and neat and tidy behind the pillar, we're going to need to remove this panel here, the footwell panel. To remove that, you've basically got to take the sill panel off. Now this is on poppers, just be careful with it because they are quite flimsy. Just pop it up, and it's on clickers, look, all the way along. So pop that out of the way, and then this panel here is also on, this one came up really easily, a hook and some clippers, look, again. Move that out of the way. This gives you access to a 10mm bolt just here. This is an ideal earthing bolt. We're going to take this bolt out and put the black wire behind it so that it earths to it. And there we go. There's our earthing strap, earthing wire as it were, put behind the the bolt there. Like I say, good earthing point for it. Now we can concentrate on just the power side. Right guys, behind the glove box there's a cover that covers your fuses, like so. Tells you what they all are, look, very handy. So what we're going to be doing is basically testing the fuses to see which one goes on and off with the ignition system. Like I say, you can access this from underneath. There we go, there's your fuses all across there, lot. It's nice and easy to get to. So we want one that goes on and off with the ignition, something like the heater blower motor, or maybe the 12-volt socket. Either one of those will do, and we're going to test them right now. So with the ignition off, you're going to need a multimeter or a test probe. So in other words, one of them little screwdrivers that lights up when you touch it if something's live. But we're going to be using a multimeter. So with the ignition off, we're going to go and try a few fuses. So with the ignition off, like I was saying, we're looking at the moment the third 10 amp from the end on the bottom row from the left hand side. 0 voltage. If we turn the ignition on, this fuse goes to 12 volts, so we know it's an ignition switched. Now obviously this may vary from car to car depending on where it's sold, what spec it is, etc. But on this car, like I say, third from the end, bottom, 10 amp is an ignition switched. It's non-critical, you don't want anything to do with ABS or airbags or anything like that. Just an auxiliary circuit will do the job just fine. So now I go ahead and remove the fuse. I've got some long nose pliers here to pull it out. There you go. With the ignition off, remove the fuse, yeah? Pop that down out of the way, and we'll put that in our fuse spur. So guys, you will have noticed that we pulled the fuse out and it's actually one of the stubby mini blade fuses as opposed to the longer ones that come in the fitting kit with this kit. If this is the case, if your car has this, you've got two options. You can either buy another fuse spur, a stubby version like this one. These are available on Amazon, eBay, normally about £1. So the fitting kits, they're available on eBay and Amazon. So you can obviously use the original fuse, shove that in there, and you're ready to go. Or failing that, you can go and buy from your local car shop, pack of little fuses, and pop that in the original one, and then pop that where the stubby fuse came from. The plug-in exactly the same, they just sit a little bit proud if you do use this option. So it's totally up to you which one you use. But either way, pop your fuse in and then plug this into the fuse box where you removed the original fuse from. And there we go, with your fuse spur in, get a bit of light on it. Would get you a torch, but unfortunately the rechargeable torch is flat. I do apologise about that and the road noise. It's not ideal location, but it's where I have to do these jobs occasionally near busy roads. So anyway, we've plugged our fuse spur back in. Now obviously you can't put your fuse cover lid back on again, yeah, because it sits proud. You don't need it, it's not a big deal, so keep it safe somewhere with your handbook or something. Before you go ahead and tidy anything up and tidy some cabling up, because you're going to eventually tidy it up so it's neat, I'll do the same with this and pop it behind the trim panel here before you put the trim panel back on. Just test your camera works, turn your ignition on and make sure it works. Now camera plugged in, we'll now turn the ignition on and there we go, it's powered. Turn the ignition off and off it goes again. Reassemble all your interior, all the panels just click down, pop them back on, and that is it. That is how you fit a dash cam on one of these vehicles. If you've got any questions, pop them in the comments below and I'll do my best to answer you as quickly as possible. Thanks a lot and bye for now.